Hello everyone, MB here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, I'd like to showcase a fossil box deck that I've been working on, and that is of course going to be Cradily. Now, I really wanted Cradily to work in standard, but try as I may, I could not get it to win a single game. So ultimately, Cradily just became more of like a support Pokemon for other standard attackers, and that's really not what I was aiming for. Like I wanted Cradily to be its own independent Pokemon, like its own attacker. But yeah, sadly, Cradley was just a wee bit too weak and slow for standard. However, fossils were just like much better in expanded. So yeah, Cradley has the ability Selective Slime. It says once in your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, choose Burned, Confused, or Poisoned, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now affected by that special condition. So sadly, you can't pick Polarisis. I wish you could. Like Polarisis would be glorious with this, but yeah, sadly, no Polarisis. It's just Burn, Confusion, or Poison, and then Miasma Wind does 100 damage for each special condition affecting your opponent's Pokemon. So what's really cool about this is that if we actually get two Cradley in play, we can of course try and flip two coins, try and flip two heads, and then we might be able to do, two different special conditions, do 200 damage plus whatever, burn or poison, whatever it may be. So yeah, that's kind of like the aim of the deck. We also have one more attacker, and that's Aerodactyl. This guy was, funny enough, one of the best single prize attackers in the Sun and Moon era. No exaggeration there. It really was that good. Kind of crazy to think about it now. But Fossil Fangs says if you don't have any Pokemon GX or Pokemon EX on your bench, this attack does 90 more damage. So you just do 180 for 3 colors. And we do play some copies of Ignition Energy, so we can use Fossil Fangs if we really wanted to. We could also use Supersonic for a single Grass Energy, so that's always there as an option, but mainly just to do the 180 out of nowhere, because Cradley does need some help. Like, it can't really carry its own deck, sadly. Like, this is probably the closest I'm going to get to making Cradley its own thing, but I still think you need Aerodactyl as a support Pokemon. So, the main Jirachi combo in Expanded, it has the ability Stellar Wish. It says once your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a trainer card you find there, and put it into your hand. However, Jirachi is now asleep. So this was basically what Tatsugiri wanted to be. Like, Tatsugiri never really reached the heights of like Jirachi. This is what this is what the designers used to design Jirachi, I guess, because design Tatsugiri, I should say, because Jirachi was like such a big deal back in the day. But yeah, Tatsugiri, not quite the same thing. But the reason why we care about Jirachi, and the reason why we also play this older Lileep, is this Lileep happens to evolve from Unidentified Fossil, and that's important. Like, you don't want to play the Lileep that evolves from Antique Cover Fossil, I think it is, or like Antique Root Fossil. Like, you don't want to play that one. You want to play this one that evolves from Unidentified Fossil. And the reason for that is that there's a really good stadium in Expanded research lab that says once during your turn, you can search your deck for 2 Pokemon that evolve from Unidentified Fossil and put them straight onto the bench. However, your turn will end. So what the aim of this deck is trying to do is just shiv through a bunch of cards, shimmy through them, try and get that stadium down, and then we can search our deck for 2 Lileep, or, Lileep and an Aerodactyl, bench them, and then our turn ends, and that's absolutely fine. And we do have to start the game with Jirachi anyway, because we only play 3 basic Pokemon, so we have decent odds of actually being able to put it off turn 1 going second. I did think about like the tag call engine with Guzma and Hala, but I've done so many expanded decks without draw engine, I'm getting a wee bit sick of it, so I wanted to go back to like Cynthia and Marnie and stuff. So if you happen to be watching this in the future when like Mega Evolution is out, then of course like the new Lily's Determination is basically just like a straight upgrade from Cynthia, so that's going to be really cool. But for the most part, like, this deck is also playing things like Marnie, which is like, it's kind of like the original version of Iono, I guess, but like the much more unfair version. So it's, yeah, you put your hand on the bottom of the deck, but you draw 5 and your opponent has to draw 4. So quite mean. We are still playing Unidentified Fossil as well, just because we'll still need to like actually play other Pokemon. Like, we can't just rely on Research Lab throughout the entire game, because it will of course end every single turn. So Unidentified Fossil is still necessary. I'm also trying out Fossil Excavation Map. I'm still not too sure whether or not this is actually worth it, but it says search your deck for an unidentified fossil, which is quite nice, and also put an unidentified fossil, so many words here, put an unidentified fossil card from your discard pile into your hand. So what's really cool about this is, say you don't want to Arven, say you just want to use Cynthia, Marnie, or another draw supporter that you're running, maybe you just want to use one of those things, then you can just, use one of these. You don't have to like Arven for the right fossil that you need. So that's quite nice. I do like that combo. I'm also playing Stadium Nav, flip 2 coins for each head, search your deck for a stadium card, just so we have a way of like actually having a decent chance of being able to Arvin for Research Lab, turn 1 going second if we have to go second. I'm also playing Secret Box as another way of finding a stadium card. So discard 3 of the cards from your hand and search your deck for Pokemon Tool card, a supporter, and a stadium. So yeah, also gets an item. So yeah, that's kind of why we're playing that, just to get the Research Lab mainly. But the tool card is also important. Like we have to play a skateboard because otherwise Jirachi won't be able to retreat when it's asleep. But a skateboard will let you retreat Jirachi, so you can like bounce around between them. So yeah, that's kind of it for the expanded cards. I don't think there's too many to talk about. Like Evolution Incense is just like a strictly better Ultra Ball in this deck, so we definitely run that. Also playing some Koga's Trap. Not the most practical card, but it will leave our opponent's active Pokemon confused and poisoned. So if we can win the coin flip on on Lileep. Is it Lileep? No, it's Cradily. It's Cradily. I'm sorry, Cradily. If we win the coin flip on Cradily and we can burn them, then Koga's Trap essentially lets us do 330 damage, I want to say. Yeah, 330 damage with poison and burn, so and confusion knocked in. So yeah, Koga's Trap is our like secret weapon, but we don't really need to deploy it that often. Hopefully, at the very least. Like you could run 4 Koga's Trap if you wanted to in this build. Like it's just finding the deck space. Like even with 39 trainers, I feel like you could run like more Koga's Trap and stuff. But yeah, 2 copies of Guzma. This is basically just a bog standard escape rope, except you get to choose. As for the energy, I'm playing 6 copies of Basic Grass and then 4 Ignition, just so you can attack with Aerodactyl. I'm going to play a bunch more games with this after I've recorded some matches. I'm basically just going to see if Aerodactyl is super needed. And at that point, if Aerodactyl's not pulling his weight, he's going to get cut from a list. And then I'll just like add in some, more Koga's traps and maybe some more disruption and things like that. Because I don't necessarily like only having 4 attacks with Aerodactyl. It does feel a bit risky. Like I know you can still evolve it normally as like a stage 1 from unidentified fossils, so it's not like critical that you set them up quickly, but it's still a bit risky because your opponent could like gust stall them, and then you're relying on Supersonic doing some heavy lifting there. But yeah, overall quite a fun deck though. I do like fossils a lot. I just wish they were so much better in standard, and they're not really good. Like they're not great. Like the Aerodactyl from 151 is quite fun, but aside from that, they're just not really that viable. So yeah, let me know what you think about this fossil box down below. Is it inspired you to try out Expanded? And yeah, thank you for watching.